Good afternoon. I'm Richard Flaherty, President of the International Corrugated Packaging Foundation. Welcome to ICPF's 2018 Teleconference on the business of corrugated packaging and displays and the career opportunities. We're live here at WKAR PBS Studios, and I wish to thank the 500 students on the 19 campuses that have joined us today. Our moderator is Anna Sadowski. Also, I wish to recognize the PBS team and Kimberly Ware, who have played a major role in the production of this broadcast today. Anna, the stage is yours. As we say in the industry, go green.
Thank you, Richard. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Sadowski, and I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm a senior graduating from Virginia Tech, majoring in packaging systems and design with a minor in business. I got my start in the corrugated packaging and displays industry, interning at the Packaging Corporation of America in Richmond, Virginia, between my junior and senior years. I learned a lot about the industry, including what exactly goes into making a corrugated plant stay up and running, like scheduling, shipping and receiving, sales, customer service, and design. It was because of ICPF that I connected with PCA's manager, who came to campus as an ICPF industry representative and talked to our packaging club about the diversity of careers in the industry. This connection ended up to an invitation leading to PCA's Mooresville, North Carolina office and an offer to work at high-end displays in PCA's new Seattle, Washington office when I graduate this spring. I know many of the university programs that are here today regularly schedule plant tours and industry speakers through ICPF for technical presentations in classrooms and at packaging clubs in order to learn more about the corrugated industry. Whether you are a faculty member or an officer of a packaging club, if you had not had a speaker recently, I encourage you to call ICPF. Like it did for many of my fellow Virginia Tech students, it made a difference in my thoughts on the significance of corrugated packaging. Like many of the corrugated packaging and display firms supporting this teleconference, my research shows that PCA will provide me with many growth opportunities throughout my career. I am pleased to be a part of ICPF's interactive teleconference to help all of you out there learn more about the global businesses of this green corrugated packaging industry and the diverse career opportunities it offers. The International Corrugated Packaging Foundation, ICPF for short, is an educational foundation that is funded by individual corrugated companies. It also is endorsed and sponsored by two separate trade associations in the packaging industry, the Fiberbox Association and AICC. You may best know ICPF for its donations of CAD tables, testing equipment, design software, and online curricula that is provided to many of your campuses, including my own university, Virginia Tech. And I wish to remind faculty today that ICPF's online curricula are available on ICPF's website, careersandcorrugated.org. This spring, ICPF is further expanding the curricula to incorporate the most recent developments in digital technology. Over 70 individual corporations with hundreds of facilities across North America support ICPF's annual teleconference and other activities of ICPF. I encourage you to go to ICPF's website and explore to learn more about them. Today you will hear about the business of corrugated packaging and displays. Our industry panelists will address such topics as the markets that drive the business, new directions within the business of corrugated packaging and displays, the critical personnel and careers that are found in the industry, recent innovations, and some of the many sustainable applications within the industry. With almost 1,200 locations in the United States alone, over 95% of you out there, no matter in what state you reside, will live within commuting distance of a potential packaging display and employer. The many firms in the industry regularly hire recent graduates and student interns who are studying packaging, graphic design, marketing and sales, business, engineering, supply chain management, and other related majors. It is a $30 billion a year industry in the U.S. alone, and it creates the most sustainable and environmentally sensitive packaging on the planet. Most importantly, those of you who enter the industry will play a major role in developing even more sustainable packaging for a greener planet tomorrow. As earlier mentioned, we have 19 campuses and over 500 students participating with us today. Today we welcome Appalachian State University. Welcome Professor Mandy Wu, Professor John Kraft, and your students. Bowling Green State University, welcome Professor Fugit and student Falcons. Cal Poly, Hello, Irene Carbonell and the Mustangs. Clemson University. Welcome to Professor Moore and the Tigers. Dunwoody College of Technology. We welcome Professor Pete Rivard and your students. Illinois State University. We are pleased to have Mindy Chan here in our broadcast studios today. She is an ISU sophomore with a graphic communications major and business minor. Indiana State University. Welcome to Professor Brian James and your graphic and packaging design students. Lewis Clark State College. Welcome to Professor Andy Tishoff and your graphic communication and packaging design students. Michigan State University. Welcome to the Spartan students here in the PBS Broadcast Studios today. We also have 9 guest students in our audience from Bowling Green State, Illinois State, Rutgers, University of Florida, and Virginia Tech. I wish to recognize our student design presentation competition judges who are in the audience today as well. David Wells from Capstone Paper and Packaging and Brian Eccleston from West Rock. Millersville University. Welcome to Professor Mark Snyder and your design students. North Carolina A&T State University. Welcome to Professor Elena Wise, Department Chairman Vincent Childress, and your students. North Carolina State University. Welcome to Professor LaCondra Powell and the Wolfpack students. Pittsburgh State. Welcome Professor Dung Younger and your students in Kansas. Rutgers University. Welcome Dr. Uhark and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. University of Florida. Welcome to Professor William Pelletier and the Gator Packaging students. University of Texas, Arlington. Welcome Professor Ben Dolezal and your design students. University of Wisconsin Stout. Hello Dr. Meisner and your packaging students. Virginia Tech. Welcome Dr. Bush, Dr. Kim, and Dr. Horvath and the packaging students from my alma mater. Western Michigan University. Welcome Professor Sasha and your Broncos design students in Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo is only about an hour and a half down the road from here. Now we wish to tell you more about how you can benefit from ICPF resources for pursuing internships and full-time positions. Dave, will you please roll the video?
Welcome to the packaging program at the University of Florida. I'm Michael Cochran. Come on, let's take a look. I became interested in packaging initially at the University of Florida. I was a mechanical engineering student, and I was looking for something that would be a little bit more applicable in terms of what's going on in the marketplace today. And I was looking for something that I could see a little bit more of the results of what I was doing. So I came over and spoke with some of the academic advisors here at the ABE department, and they introduced me to packaging sciences, and really I was extremely interested in the program and changed over to it, and here I am today. I'm very grateful for ICPF for setting up this internship with me at Vanguard Companies in Kansas City, Missouri. Some of the things that Vanguard Companies does is they are not just a box plant, but they produce displays, mainly high-quality graphics displays for their customers. My role at Vanguard was as a corrugated designer to assist the other designers in designing displays that fit around the customer's needs. Occasionally a customer would come in, more often than not with a product that is already packaged, and we would design a display that would contain a certain number of units, and to be able to have that, whether it's sitting on a counter, whether it's on a floor stand, or whether it's on an end cap, we would be able to accommodate the customer and build a display that fits their needs. Some of the classes that I took at UF, for example, the computer tools for packaging, really helped segue me into my internship. I kind of, so to speak, hit the ground running, and some of my knowledge of how these computer systems work and how that they integrate with machinery such as CAD tables and the like. And it really allowed me to be able to understand what the designers were saying when they were showing me what to do, and it allowed me to be able to catch on relatively quickly. My internship helped me learn a lot more about the packaging field by introducing me to many different multidisciplinary consumers and how they really want their product to be recognized. It really taught me a lot about when a product goes onto a shelf, what are the thoughts of the consumer goods company? How do they want their product to be viewed in the marketplace, and how can we serve to better assist them? This experience at the internship gave me a lot more excitement about my decision to go over into the packaging sciences. I am very, very interested in packaging, not only from a food packaging standpoint, from flexible films to glass, but into corrugated as well. I really enjoyed the experience of being able to design corrugated materials, and it really gave me a lot of enjoyment and understanding from being able to take what I'm learning into my classes and being able to apply it to what goes on in the world around me. I think it's great what ICPF is doing with their website and how that they've got things structured. And for those students that are out there just seeking to get started, what do I do to get an internship? If I want to get one, I want to get some experience while I'm still an undergrad, I'd highly recommend that they contact ICPF and get involved in what they're doing, because it's a very, very good system to be able to get you started in your career. I came back from my internship with a lot of great enthusiasm for packaging and for my degree as a whole, and really, really excited to be able to graduate and move on to get out into the world and actually do this thing for real.
We will now go to our panel speakers. You can request copies of the speakers' presentations next week by emailing info@icpfbox.org. After the panel completes the presentations, we will then go to you, the college and university students out there, for your questions. I ask that during the panel session, faculty collaborate with your students to develop a question as well as a backup question in case another school asks your question ahead of you. Please write your questions down. Students, be immediately ready with your questions. When you ask, indicate to us the single person from the industry panel who you wish to answer the question. I also will be participating in answering any of your questions about entering the industry and the using ICPF resources like ICPF's Career Portal, Resume Bank, design competitions, and student dialogue dinners to acquire student internships or career opportunities if you are approaching graduation. Your questions should be questions related to the business of corrugated packaging or about the careers. Please be aware that after the panelists make their presentations, we will then go to Western Michigan University for the first question, and then we will proceed alphabetically in reverse until we reach Appalachian State. If time allows, after Appalachian State, we will start again with Western Michigan for a second question. Speakers, please remember during the Q&A session to keep your responses brief and to the point. One person for each response. The responses will need to be brief to ensure that we get to all campuses. After your questions, we will conduct the ICPF's 2018 Student Design Presentation Competition. The first, second, and third place winners in the earlier 2017 AICC's Corrugated Design Competition will compete for top cash prizes today. We also will tell you how to enter this year's AICC's Student Design Competition. Team winners will qualify to be here next year, so please stay tuned. Why has the corrugated industry thrived for hundreds of years as other industries have slipped into oblivion? Corrugated is an agile, sustainable product. It does a whole lot more than simply ship and protect products. It offers tremendous creative capabilities in meeting customers' packaging and display needs while minimizing impact on the environment. A graphic example of this hotly competitive retail market in which corrugated has excelled in grabbing consumer attention and selling product. Coca-Cola actually told the Wall Street Journal that consumers respond to more the package than they do to the brand. That is power, and that is corrugated in our industry today. Whether you are packaging, graphic communications, business, engineering, supply chain, marketing, or sales, you should know that careers in corrugated packaging and displays are exciting, challenging, and rewarding. And it's only corrugated packaging that positively supports the environment. Our panelists will tell you more. First up is Mike Riegsecker. Mike is the Chief Operating Officer for Menasha Packaging Company, a wholly owned subsidiary of Menasha Corporation and the corporation's largest operating company. Mike joined Menasha in 1992 as a manufacturing trainee. Over the past 25 years, he has served in numerous senior positions in operation and sales before he was assigned as COO. With his extensive experience in the packaging industry, Mike has played a key role in strategic focus and growth of Menasha Packaging. He is a graduate of Purdue University. Mike?
All right. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Richard. What a great opportunity to come and talk to all of you about what a great industry we all work in. There's so many quality people, and it's really fun industry. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today as we kind of go through things. But Menasha Corporation first, just a little bit about who we are as a company. Menasha Corporation is the largest independently held corrugated packaging company in the industry. Today, we reside in over 50 facilities across the country. We manufacture corrugated, we manufacture paperboard and folding carton. And in recent years, we've really added to the contract packaging and supply chain services part of our business. We have over 7 million square feet of fulfillment square footage under roof, and we put a lot of folks to work. And if you think about what we do, we not only design the package, but we walk that package all the way through the supply chain. So any CPG company that has to have something leave their supply chain and be remanipulated into a value pack, into an e-commerce pack, or into any customization that's required by retailers today, that's the service that we provide, and we help get that product back into the supply chain. So when Richard talked to me a little bit about, corrugated, where do we start? And I thought we'd just kind of start in talking about our business on the front end and how do we sell corrugated. And the easiest way to say it is we solve problems. I mean, think about the corrugated package. We take relatively few raw materials and we turn it into thousands and thousands and thousands of customized solutions as an industry. And we solve problems. And today, the problems that our CPG customers have, the problems that retailers are encountering are rapidly evolving. When you think about what Walmart, what Amazon, what everyone's trying to do. Center of the store is dying. The perimeter of their store is alive and well. How do we bring entertainment? How do we bring experiential things to shoppers on the exterior racetrack and drive things to the center of the store? These are the topics that our teams, our sales teams, are out there engaging with customers in terms of how we fulfill those things. The supply chain is changing. If you think about the history of how we get things to retail, it's all been with distribution models. Well, today there's this little thing called a fulfillment model that's now entered in addition to the traditional distribution. How are we going to get things directly to the consumer door? And it's going to require new kinds of packaging as we relate to that. One thing that we'll talk about a little later is you think about the many, many years our industry, it's all been about sales lift packaging. How do I elevate that package so I can get a brand message to consumers in the retail environment? Well, guess what? Amazon came along, and what do we got to do now? We got to ship everything flat. So when you think of it, think of all the problems to solve with how do I get my elevated packaging into a flat packaging that'll sit in somebody's mailbox. Lots of interesting problems to solve. And our salespeople, it's really important that they have the right language and they have the right understanding of our customers' problems if they're going to be successful in the industry. Just a couple of examples that are kind of changing the game right now. Walmart obviously acquired Jet, and they're doing e-commerce. We see a lot of our CPG clients are creating new value packs to compete and win. It's really, really hard to make a margin on a singular item going through e-commerce. So they're trying to put multiple items together in value creation and put them in things like ship in your own container and frustration free. That's how they're going to win in the retail environment. And we're requiring our designers and our salespeople to know an awful lot about that space and what the total costs are within those decisions that are made around the packaging. So really exciting things. Walmart also changing the game with retail ready packaging. Labor to customize displays, labor in store. It's a very, very hard thing for people to get. It's a very tight market. Wages are going up all over the country in those environments, and we have a lot of pressure from our clients to use packaging as a tool to remove labor from all those spots. And so the Retail Ready Packaging Initiative at Walmart, very significant, with multimedia type packaging coming together in different ways, et cetera. You know, it's an exciting time in our industry because the new trends and the new developments, not only on the retail landscape, but the things that are happening with equipment and the tools that we have to succeed are super exciting. You know, obviously the explosion of e-commerce and the fulfillment models we talked about, but late stage customization, digital printing is here. It's real. The technology that companies like HP are introducing to our industry are making the impossible possible. And many of us, Menasha has 9 digital presses. The industry has digital presses going in all over, and our ability to customize to consumers is really exciting. So think about being able to demographically, you know, produce by store an individual image across the country, and to be able to put a separate message on an individual package. It's pretty exciting. But there's lots of problems that are associated with that. How do we handle the information? How do we handle the master data with all of the SKU proliferation that's going to happen? And there's going to be a ton of opportunity for us to solve problems around those areas as we move forward. Robotics is also a critical piece that our company is involved with. Not only robotics in our box plants, but robotics in our customers' plants and robotics in fulfillment centers. You know, how do you take labor out of those core pieces, and how does the package interact with the robotics? And so our design teams today have to know more about all of these things. It's not just about the box anymore. It's about how it goes from an end-to-end solution within the supply chain. You know, and some of the opportunities that exist at companies within our industry, certainly marketing is a really exciting. We've had designers that have developed long-term marketing careers within our organization. And, you know, we do things where we exhibit in trade shows. Those are a big deal for things that we do. We have one of our bigger trade shows coming up called Global Shop. It's in Chicago. Our marketing teams do research. They do research around our customers, around what they want to do. We educate our salespeople with our marketing folks. We do research around geographies. We do research around what's happening in Europe and other countries. And packaging design, that's all part of what goes into how we try to develop and drive our business. Certainly business development with adjacent packaging businesses are part of what our marketing groups do. Branding, you know, how do we position Menasha differently than other competitors? That's a big part of what our marketing team would work on. Strategy development, our leadership team is talking about how do we compete and win in this changing environment? What's our footprint need to look like? What type of equipment do we need to have? All of those things. So lots of interesting opportunities in marketing. You know, one of the topics that came up, and you guys are potentially looking at the corrugated industry, and there's lots of opportunities within the industry, but what does financial viability of our industry look like? And, you know, I want to preface this a little bit by saying these numbers are not Menasha's. They're just some general guidelines, you know, to kind of think about things. But world-class organic growth is 5%. I mean, 3% is what our industry is delivering. You want to join a growing industry. You want to join companies that are growing because you'll have more opportunities. You know, you can see earnings and capital investments going back into the businesses are all questions, good questions you should be asking of your prospective employers. You know, the types of things that we use in our industry, you think about MSF or tons as a denominator. You know, how many sales dollars do we generate? What's our design cost per MSF? All of those things are key activities that we look at as we look to drive our business and improve our business in the future. You know, I just want to wrap up. I think and give one last plug for our industry, and you're going to hear from some great gentlemen also that are going to complementarily talk about our industry in some different ways. But look at this organization, the ICPF organization. And it is a great organization. Our website is full of opportunities with internships and job opportunities within our industry. You know, take a look at those things that are out there and utilize this opportunity that you have. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Mike. Our next speaker is Bob Lindahl. Bob is the new president of Lindahl Packaging Systems with operations in Burton, Flint, and Bay City, Michigan. As president, Bob leads to the strategic vision and day-to-day operations of the company. He has worked at Lindahl Packaging for 15 years in several different capacities, most recently serving as the vice president of sales and marketing. Bob is a marketing graduate from Western Michigan University. Bob?
Thanks, Anna. I appreciate it. And thanks, Richard and ICPF, for allowing me to tell my story, tell our company's story today to you all. Again, my name's Bob Lindahl. I'm president of Lindahl Packaging Systems in good old Flint, Michigan, so just down the road. So today, I'm going to try to keep it fairly brief so we can have a ton of time for the Q&A piece. So I'm going to try to breeze through this pretty quick. But what I want to do today is share with you a little bit about who we are, who our company is, talk a little bit about our great industry, and then where those career opportunities lie inside of the industry. So who the heck is Lindahl Packaging Systems? We're a third-generation, family-owned and operated full-service packaging company. We're an independent, and we'll get into that a little bit later. The company was founded in 1959 by my grandfather. I actually represent the fourth generation of our family that's been involved in this great industry. My great-grandfather was involved in the paper mill side of things in the early 1900s, so it's something that our family is extremely proud of. We have about 200 associates, and we do just under $40 million a year in revenue. We operate in 4 key niche areas. Our corrugated manufacturing operation runs everything from, brown RSCs all the way through high-end retail graphic and point-of-sale work. We have a contract packaging and fulfillment plant and organization that kits, unitize, and distributes automotive parts and retail products throughout the United States and into Canada. And then we have a line of sustainable packaging solutions. Again, Anna mentioned our locations: Flint, Burton, and Bay City. Flint, we have a design and innovation center where all of our structural and creative teams sit. Our 500,000 square feet of fulfillment plant is in Burton, and our corrugated manufacturing location is in Bay City. This gives you an idea of some of our customer base. So customers that are industrial in nature, and then brand facing and retail in nature. So it's a pretty diverse group of lucky customers that we have. So let's talk a little bit about our great industry. There's 2 main types of companies: fully integrated companies like Capstone and Menasha, and those companies basically own the entire supply chain, right, from the raw inputs at the mill all the way through the finished product. And then there's the smaller independent companies like ourselves that are non-vertically integrated and only really have our hand in one piece of the supply chain solution. This picture gives you a little bit of an idea of what maybe an integrated supply chain might look like, right? If you can imagine the harvest of forest land, taking that forest land or raw OCC, turning it back into paper, making it into corrugated, and then making the finished box. And then this gives you an idea of our supply chain. It's a little bit more simple, a little less complex, where we go out and we buy sheets, corrugated sheets on the open market, and turn it into a finished corrugated product. There's a few different types of operations, both for vertically integrated companies as well as independent companies like ourselves. A sheet feeder is a plant that has a corrugator that makes corrugated sheets, may sell them to the open market. They may send them to one of their converting plants. There's corrugator or full inline box plants, and that's typically a corrugator and finishing equipment under one roof, right? So they have the ability to start making corrugated, and out comes a box at the end of the building. And then there's sheet plants like ourselves that just take corrugated sheets and turn them into a finished box. From a sustainability standpoint, our industry has an excellent story here. Fiber recovery rates are in the 90+% range. The average recycled content of a box, it can be as low as 30%, 35%, all the way up to 100%, depending on the application for that box and the performance that it needs to achieve. Recycled mill technology is advancing tremendously, and the mill systems are putting out a better fiber source through the use of this technology, which is really helping our industry do something where we can use less fiber and still get great performance out of that finished box, right? So it's very, very exciting time to be in our industry. And the recycled mills, I would say, are definitely an important piece of our future, of our industry going forward. We're actually seeing a lot of newsprint mills and mills that over the time had maybe done newsprint, things of that nature, that have been idled. If you think about the digital age, right? I can't even get a newspaper delivered to my house to read, right? So everything's done digital, so a lot of companies are turning those paper mill assets into machines that will make linerboard for the growing containerboard and corrugated industries. So it's a great time, like I said, to be inside of our industry. It's a growth industry. It's really being stoked by the e-commerce markets. That's a huge section of growth for our industry. We are seeing traditional brick and mortar stores. We've seen the footprints there shrinking, right? JCPenney's, for example, is continuing to close stores year after year, right? So with that comes opportunity for our industry to really shift the way that we think, right? And we have to think a lot like the consumer. So instead of things being on a shelf, they're now being delivered to our doors. And one of our key tasks there is to help our customers develop that positive packaging experience for when that product shows up at our doors. So the stores that are still thriving are really now pushing back on the brands, and the brands are pushing back on people like us inside of our industry to have product that's going on the shelf that's easy to stock, right? So retail ready packaging that can be easily ripped open and thrown on a shelf. Displays that are easy to assemble. It's all about cost savings inside of those stores. With the reduction in those traditional stores, they're driving a need for innovation and creativity inside of our industry. So those brands that are still going to continue to sell a lot of product at retail, the importance of a creative design and really catchy graphics for that consumer, that end buyer, to grab that product and get it off the shelf becomes extremely, extremely important. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity there. This gives you an idea. The next couple slides I'll breeze through pretty quick of examples of either retail-ready packaging or store displays that are pretty easy to set up and drive compliance inside of the stores. So now the important stuff, the career opportunities, right? So where are the career opportunities inside of our industry? I like to look at it as there's two real main areas, right? There's the brand-facing side, or the consumer packaged good opportunity side of things, or the manufacturing side of things that our company is obviously familiar with, right? So graphic design, structural design, developmental testing, branding, marketing, project management. Those are all great opportunities on the brand-facing side. And then on the manufacturing side, structural and graphic design, sales, marketing, operations, supply chain management, quality, project management, product development. Those are all exciting opportunities inside the manufacturing side of the business. Some of the benefits of working with, independent manufacturers. We're relatively flat organizations, so communication tends to flow pretty easily. There's opportunity for advancement, and we're very service or customer oriented, right? So we're very close to the customer. So, like I said, in closing, it's a great time to be inside of our industry. A little bit of unsolicited advice would be, don't feel like you have to get it right out of the gate, right? Allow yourself some time as you graduate and get into your career to really have some soak time and figure out what you really want to do, right? Do something that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about what you're doing, it won't seem like work at all, right? It'll be extremely enjoyable. When you start, be a sponge. Learn and learn and learn and learn, and keep an open mind. But most importantly, don't freak out. Nobody expects you guys to have the answers. And more than likely, there's somebody there inside that organization that is dying for the opportunity to help mentor and teach you guys. So thanks for the time today. Looking forward to the Q&A section coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Our third speaker is Kevin Hines. Kevin is the Director of Marketing and Salesforce Excellence for Capstone Paper and Packaging's converting business. With over 24 years of experience in the paper and packaging industry, Kevin has leadership responsibility for developing marketing strategy, sales personnel development, and technical support. Kevin holds a Bachelor of Science degree from St. Lawrence University and an MBA from Duke University. Kevin?
Anna, thank you so much for that introduction, and Richard, thank you for the opportunity to come down and have a discussion this morning. There you are. My goal today is to build on what Mike and Bob have talked about in terms of the industry, but really, in addition to that, to put myself in your shoes and ask questions about what you may be thinking about. So during the course of the next few minutes, I really want to focus on three major areas. One is the overall industry and what might be interesting to you. The second is some market challenges and opportunities building on what Bob and Mike have said. And then finally getting into a little bit of a discussion of career opportunities. First, industry dynamics. Anna explained that the industry is $30 billion. It's interesting to note that Anna said there were almost 1,200 design and manufacturing facilities. Think of those as opportunities for you, places to work. And they're spread all over the country, different sizes. You know, you have a panel here that represents independent, larger size private companies, and Capstone, whom I represent, is a public company. All different types of companies in the industry. And we employ about 100,000 people in this country. It's a very large employment base. Our industry, and you may not be thinking about this, but our industry is a growth industry. And I hope to share a little bit more about what that means as we go through this. Large, small, private, public. ICPF publicizes that corrugated is the single most dominant force in the packaging world, and there's good reason for that because of the flexibility, the environmental nature of corrugated, and the way that it's growing from a flexibility and use perspective and a perception from the consumer perspective. From an environmental point of view, there's an intuition in our society that paper is natural. And it is. You may not know that today in the United States, there's 20% more trees than there were 40 years ago. The way our industry has managed forests, land management, et cetera, has been very, very strong. And the recycling rate within our industry is among the best, if not the best, across a supply chain. At 93%, that's virtually everything you are getting at your front door, if you will, from a corrugated perspective, gets recycled. Bob mentioned the 48% recycled content in every box. I just want you to think about that from a consumer perspective. When you get a box delivered from Amazon, think of that as being 48% recycled. Now, in our environment, and I mean by that the converting environment or our business, if you will, you've heard the previous speakers talk about being customer-centric. Mike talked about problem solving. That's really at the core of what we do, and we do that from an intimacy perspective with customers by listening to what their issues are and then collaboratively across our organizations figuring out how to answer that. You've heard this before, but it's worth repeating. A variety of career paths from design to sales to production to marketing, manufacturing, et cetera. I really want to reinforce one major point here that you may be interested in hearing. Our business is very, very entrepreneurial. If you think about those 1,200 locations that Anna referred to, most of those locations are they're a business unto themselves. So if you go to a facility within our industry, you'll see general management, marketing, sales, production, design. You'll see the whole gamut of a business underneath one roof. There aren't many businesses like that left today. And finally, this is a very fast-paced industry. I'll show you some things that are happening here in the short term with respect to customer demand, and you'll see that you are sitting right in the cusp of major developments within our world. And this packaging business is going to be one of the leaders in transitioning our business and our economy. Our customers. So what do our customers expect from a corrugated supplier? This is an interesting question because you'll find as you talk to manufacturers in the food business, retail, et cetera, the CPGs, corrugated is actually one of the major spends within our customer base. I've been in meetings with customers where they literally say corrugated is we spend the most in our expense summary on corrugated. Significant spend. Secondly, and this may not be as intuitive, but we live in a just-in-time world. Anybody order books today and expect them to arrive in a couple of months? No. We want it this afternoon, maybe at the latest tomorrow. And that's the way our manufacturing world works too. In fact, a lot of times corrugated is such a critical element in the manufacturing process that you've got to have corrugated on a dock at a customer at 2 p.m. today, or you shut down a manufacturing plant. That's a really significant, intimate partnership that we have with our customers. New products, new packaging. I mean, this is the growth area that I see in our marketplace because, as I'll explain in the e-commerce section, the dynamics of packaging are changing today. I mean, it's amazing how much transition is happening in 2018, and that will continue. And then finally, from a customer perspective, they're expecting the entire package. Innovation, quality, and service. They do not want to have interruptions in this super important supply chain element called corrugated packaging. There are many market challenges and opportunities. I've decided to just really focus on two that I think are really dynamic for you to hear about. One is the one that everybody's talking about, e-commerce, what's happening there. And the second has to do with merchandising. These are things that you can see, feel, touch, and hopefully relate to. First, e-commerce. This is an amazing situation that we're living through live time today. In 2010, e-commerce in the U.S. represented about 4% of retail. Today, 10%. And, in a few years, it'll be double that. What you may not know is that in China, today, e-commerce, 20% of retail. This is changing the dynamic of retail in a huge way, and one that'll be dynamic for you because you'll be wrestling with these issues when you join the industry and have to figure out answers to really critical questions that, by the way, nobody knows the answer to today. I mean, we're struggling with how to grow with e-commerce. Omnichannel retailers, that may be a new term to you. It was to me. This is the concept of clicks and bricks together. So Mike showed a slide where it was Jet and Walmart. Jet being a e-commerce company primarily, Walmart being obviously a huge retailer. The path to success in e-commerce actually is a dovetailing of the electronic digital world with the physical world. And so while we're seeing a lot of decrease in the retail community, I mean, malls are struggling and e-commerce is growing. It's the combination of this omnichannel kind of approach that I think will be really interesting for companies, especially CPGs, to wrestle with over time. And then, of course, driving innovation. If there's one word that describes our industry now, it's lifetime innovation. I know that's 3 words. When you're in an industry like ours where it's so dynamic and so fast moving, you either innovate or die. And so you'll hear that during our discussions, I'm sure, in short order. And then finally, with e-commerce from a packaging perspective, most CPGs have really focused on getting product to the retailer, which is cool. But today, it's about getting it to your porch and wrestling with issues like porch pirating. Things like that are going to be things that you're going to see when you enter our industry. Brands are trying to brand themselves to your porch, which means two-sided printing, different ways to highlight their brand. And then finally, and this is a really critical point, packaging experience being positive is a huge deal. Many of us, in fact, it's the #1 complaint by customers. They get a big box and they have a little something in it. And people get really angry about that. We've got to work on solving that issue within the industry. Secondly, merchandising. This was alluded to by Mike. CPGs are having a real struggle inside the supermarket, especially with respect to you, millennials, trying to figure out how to keep you in the store, get you deeper in the store, etc. Things like this, displays, are a big part of drawing you into the store. Innovation is key, and I brought this along to show you a quick summary of a solution to a problem. The problem is that nobody wants to set these up in the store. They're bulky, big, difficult. There's actually a lot of technology and design in this. And the big issue is, how do you get this header up and running? Does somebody staple it, tape it, etc.? At Capstone, we developed a very simple way to do that. So when the package is shipped, it arrives like this. And then when you unbox the shipper, the header comes up. Seems simple, but it makes the retail environment a lot easier to manage. And finally, from a career perspective, I thought it was important to pose some questions to you. And these are important to think about as you're getting into your interview process. Are you more entrepreneurial or more structured? Do you like to have mobility? Are you more static? Intimacy with customers, is that something you'd like to do? Independence versus directive. These are questions that I think from a corrugated perspective can be answered in a lot of ways. I mentioned that in each of the facilities that you'll see in our industry, they're basically businesses within a business. At Capstone, which is a newer company in the industry, we are only 12 years old and have grown by acquisition, but we have 4 paper mills, dovetailing on what Mike said about integrated, and Bob too, about integrated versus non-integrated. We're an integrated player with 4 mills, 23 facilities that convert corrugated all over the country, and then 65 distribution facilities. I would summarize by saying if you're interested in a rapid, lifelong learning kind of career, and you like working with customers in an intimate way, this is an incredibly positive place to be. This is a place where your career will change every single day. It's very interesting to me to watch people in our industry. Days are just different because customer issues are changing live time. And so from a final perspective, Bob talked at good length about the careers in our industry. And you probably have a sense of what those are today. I want to say this. No matter what you get into within our industry, they can all lead to careers that are long and careers that end up being managerial and leadership oriented. Whether you start in marketing, sales, design, production, they all evolve towards leadership roles. And keep that in mind because that's one of the reasons that you see so many people staying in our industry. We grow careers. I just close by saying, you've heard this 3 times now. The ICPF portal is really important. Take a look at that. And I hope that you hear the passion that we have for the industry, having been in the industry a long time. We're trying to convey that passion to you. Hopefully you're feeling that. This is a growth industry. The corrugated business is going to keep growing. It's going to be a flexible, challenging environment for you. And I really hope that you think about joining our industry because, listen, we need you. We have an industry that's growing fast, but we also need a lot of resources and a lot of good people. So I want to close on that. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Kevin. Now we'll hear questions from you, the students out there. Please remember it's 1 question per campus. Make sure you have a backup question, so if the campus before you asks the same question, you'll have that backup. Again, your questions should be based on the business of corrugated packaging or its career opportunities. And we will proceed alphabetically in reverse, starting with Western Michigan University. And only 1 speaker can answer 1 question, so when you ask your question, please indicate the speaker to whom it's addressed. So let's start. Western Michigan, are you there?
Yeah. Yep. Yes, we are. Here.
Do you have your question?
Yep. Yes, we do. All right. Our question is for Bob. We want to know if you guys use water-based inks for sustainability, like preferences, like recycling, or if you use it based on like FDA regulations.
Good question. Both. So our ink is it's a tricky system, right? So every time we're done running something across one of our machines, we have to wash it down, right? So after we wash it down, it's got to be treated. So there's a ton of chemistry that goes into it. and then we treat it, and then we release it back into the municipal water system. So we use it for both reasons. Good question.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech, are you there?
So our question is for Kevin. Do you see an increasing customer demand in recycled materials or sustainability? And like a second part would be, is there any research in trends in sustainability and company popularity, such as like Amazon all has the corrugated recycle symbol?
Excellent question. I think the short answer is yes, yes, and yes. The recycling focus that we're seeing in the marketplace today is so significant. Just last month, McDonald's made it very public that in 2025, they will have all of their packaging. It'll be, in fact, I want to make sure I get this right. They said 100% of our customer packaging will be renewable, recyclable, and certified by 2025. I mean, today, McDonald's says that their packaging is only 50% in that area. And they say customers are saying that packaging waste is the top environmental issue that they need to address. So the answer to your first question is absolutely this will be, it's not a passing trend. It's a consumer demand that will increase with time. On the symbol question, I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of discussion about that going on industry-wise, but if your question is there something going beyond the recycled symbol, was that the question?
Yeah, so like Amazon, all their boxes have the corrugated recycles. I know there's other initiatives as well. Is that becoming more popular?
I think you'll see SFI, SFC certification becoming more critical. Those are already in place, by the way. So chain of custody will be more and more focused on within the industry. I think actually the format is already set in our industry. It's a matter of having people really demand it from a consumer perspective. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
University of Wisconsin Stout.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, we're here.
Our question is directed towards Bob. And our question is, what are some of the trends that are going on currently in point of purchase displays?
Trends. I think in-store compliance is a big trend right now, right? So if you think about some of these complex displays can cost hundreds of dollars, right? So the last thing a brand wants is for it to show up at Walmart or some other retailer and not be put together correctly, right? So I think that what that does is that drives in-store compliance, and then that store rates that brand on how compliant they are inside of the store, right? So a trend for ease of assembly and something that will almost certainly guarantee in-store compliance is huge piece of that.
Thank you, Bob. University of Texas, Arlington. Are you there?
Yes.
Our question's for Mike. Do you feel that the popularity of fulfillment center packaging, like Amazon, has had an impact on the user experience and brand message of the products that are being delivered to consumers? If so, how can young packaging and brand designers prepare themselves to work in this challenging market?
Could you just repeat the first part of that question? I missed that.
Yes. Could you repeat the first part of the question? And just so you know, we're asking that you keep your questions to one part and not two parts, but we'll do it this time.
Do you feel that the popularity of fulfillment center packaging, like Amazon, has had an impact on the user experience and brand message of the products that are being delivered to consumers?
That's a great question. And I think when we think about e-commerce packaging right now, it is the Wild West in our industry. If I was a designer coming into our industry, the opportunities that we have to create packages that connect with consumers in new ways, that connect with brands in new ways is absolutely a huge opportunity. I don't think as an industry we're real good at it yet. And I think if we all told stories about what showed up on our doorstep last night, you see craziness that occurs every day in the world of e-com. So I think your question is right on point. Every company is working to get better at this. Some companies understand it. Some CPG companies understand the space much better than others from my perspective. But I think everybody is working to improve.
Thank you, Mike. University of Florida, are you there?
Yes.
Let's hear the question from the Gators.
Hi, Richard. Our question is for Bob. Corporate tax policy just went from 30% to 21%. In what ways will you invest the extra capital?
Good question. Really good question. So we're personally, we're in a little bit of a unique situation. So our fiscal year started November 1st of 2017. So we're in a kind of a weird spot when we're working with our accounting group right now to figure out what that means to us, because initially we were told that we weren't going to qualify for any tax savings. We were going to have to wait this entire year because our fiscal year had already started. Good news is we're going to get what they call a blended rate, and our first 2 months will be taxed at the higher rate, and then we'll have 10 months at the lower rate. So we're going through the process right now of looking at what we do with it. So we're looking at two things: investing back into capital. That's actually two, but we really want to put it in the pockets of our associates, right? So we're looking at it as an opportunity to take that money and give it to our associates that work so hard every single day for us, and then they can do what they want. Hopefully go stimulate the economy with it. So yeah, so we're looking at two things, and we're not 100% sure what we're going to do, but it's going to be one of those two things, and or a combination of the two.
Thank you, Bob. And just to add to that, there was an article in one of the trade publications where one of our partner companies, at the end of the year, in addition to the usual bonuses, they gave out a bonus of $500 to every employee at the end of the year. So that's how they wanted to use that savings. Rutgers University, are you there?
Yes. Hello. So what are the main challenges for industry to emerge with e-commerce and retailing?
For the merging of e-commerce and retailing?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is, I think you're referring to kind of the omni-channel approach, which is, right, very good query. This is one where, like with the Walmart and Jet combination, you have a strong profile of the way Walmart likes to go to market. Jet is very entrepreneurial and totally e-commerce focused. I think it's going to be a disruptive combination in the short term, while the powers of those two market directions collide. You're seeing a lot of retailers close down physical locations today, probably necessary, but you're also seeing Walmart learn from Jet about e-commerce. So I think it's disruptive. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be the combination of entrepreneurial and very formalized organizations together, which is never easy. But the long term is that I think this omni-channel approach will be the way it works. Brands will have ways to market through e-commerce. They're going to have to. And the evolution of e-commerce will just continue rolling like a big freight train. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Kevin. Pittsburgh State, are you out there?
Hi, our question is for Mike. You mentioned Walmart rules for retail-ready packaging. Are other smaller retailers adopting similar guidelines? Maybe the retailers that are not a national but more of a regional type of company?
You know, we've certainly seen Kroger push retail ready, but probably not as effectively on the consumer goods companies as what Walmart has been able to do. You know, Walmart's actually put some new folks in place around governance for retail ready packaging, and they've gone through each category, through all their category management. The folks that buy products from CPG companies, they have goals around in-store labor. So I have not seen other retailers kind of take it to that extreme. And you know, one of the challenges with retail ready packaging is it tends to cost a little more in the ways that you put that together. And so that certainly is part of the debate that occurs between the retailer, the CPG, you know, and us being able to provide those solutions.
Thank you, Mike. North Carolina A&T.
Our question is for Mr. Mike. The question was, how much creative freedom does one have in the packaging and design industry?
Well, quite a lot. You know, it's pretty interesting. You know, when a customer brings us a problem, we'll sometimes they might, you know, really have a good idea for what they want sometimes, but many times they have no idea what they're looking for. Maybe a general idea for a count or a specific area. So we'll sometimes send out multiple design facilities across the United States. We'll do a national design brief when we really want to look for a lot of creativity, and we try to engage our design teams that are focused on different industries to look at a new industry, because sometimes all of a sudden somebody in automotive might have a great idea for someone in food and they never thought about the application, you know, in that way. And so we really love to put our designers together in creative teams and really encourage, you know, free thinking around what's the best total cost and what's the best way to display or to package someone's product.
Thank you, Mike. North Carolina State, your question, please.
What is the most significant opportunity for corrugated or similar fiber-based packaging to displace less sustainable options like plastic?
Wow. That is the $64,000 question. I think I would simply say that the flexibility of corrugated and paper as a technology overall have incredible growth opportunities in ways that we probably haven't thought of. And the market's going to force that change. I'll tell you that this is a worldwide issue. In England in 2015, there was a tax put on plastic bags. We're seeing that in places here in this country. Now plastic bags are down 80% in England. And so I think maybe my answer is it's the mother of necessity, invention, and that's probably out there to be decided and discovered. But when it comes to void fill and packaging and the ways you can use corrugated, I don't see any end to the creativity. I think we're at the beginning stages of what the paper industry will grow into from a form and use. Mike mentioned retail ready. There's just a huge amount of ways to use our substrate, if you will, in very environmentally friendly ways. So I hope that answers it.
Thank you, Kevin. Millersville University.
How can the consumer be educated on helping the packaging industry become sustainable?
Well, that's a great question, but I think it goes back to feedback, right? I think that the consumer has to share that voice, right? So the industry will listen, and the industry will listen to where the end consumer wants to go. So I think that end buyer of that good or service or whatever it is has got to be vocal and saying that, hey, we kind of demand this. We want recycled rates to be whatever they're going to be, or we want to remove PET plastic from certain packages or whatever the case may be. So I think it lies on the consumer to push that back to the industry, and certainly the industry will listen. And that again is one of the beauties of our industry, is that it can be very, very creative, right? So it's if the consumer brings that challenge back, I'm certain that our industry will be able to solve it.
Thank you, Bob. Michigan State, are you out there?
Okay, so this question is for Kevin. So we know that corrugated packaging has a big downfall with the lack of water resistance. And so there's been a pretty new development of a coating or treatment that's bio-based that will help improve water resistance without impairing recyclability. So how is this new technology being integrated into the industry?
I'm not a technology expert, but I will say this to that bigger picture question, which is how is coating technology evolving within our industry? Coatings have been around for a long time, wax coatings, et cetera. It's becoming very clear that wax coatings days are numbered. And so there's a huge amount of technology development with PLA, various technologies that are allowing for corrugated to be basically recycled. That, again, we're at the early stages of that. I know we're testing it. I'm sure others are testing it. And from a resistance standpoint, I know that's a factor in the overall equation. But having studied this a little bit, I know that the coating technology is very complicated. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of development going on. And I think it's to be determined how it's all going to play out. But, I think it's a super exciting thing for consumers, because it makes the recyclability of our product, our main product, a lot easier.
Kevin, thank you. Lewis Clark State College in Idaho on the Washington State border. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, we're here. Our question's towards Mike. What challenges have you faced while integrating digital printing into your operation?
I think a couple of challenges that are being solved for right now, and I think there was a question earlier on aqueous coated inks or water-based inks. The new digital technologies that are coming out today and are being launched this year are aqueous inks, and that's going to solve a lot of issues that we have, particularly around food-based clients, and grow the applications we're able to use. The other thing that's really changing is the speeds. So the technologies that are being launched in 2018 and 2019 will push technologies, standard technologies of die cutting and printing that have never been pushed before. So I think the other big thing that's changing is just our ability to do new things that weren't possible before at costs that are, at current costs or better than current costs are definitely there. So digital is definitely an exciting platform, and it's just within 5 years, I think it'll change our industry dramatically.
Thank you, Mike. Indiana State University.
What would be the best advice for a marketing and sales student pursuing a career in the corrugated packaging industry?
Get a job. No, in all seriousness, in terms of marketing and sales, I think, from the interviews that I've done over the years with designers, people typically aren't thinking of marketing and sales as a place to enter our industry. And I think that provides an opportunity for you if you're interested in that kind of entry path. For us, we have a trainee program for sales. It's a really terrific way to get into the industry because, as I'm sure Bob and Mike will attest, sales touches everything. It touches the customer, touches designers, touches customer service, the whole gamut. So I would say from a short-term perspective, Sales gives you the best way to get an understanding of our customer base, our industry, your facility, etc. So I would be encouraging you to look at that from an opportunity standpoint. Marketing, though, tends to be more company oriented. So as opposed to most facilities who will have salespeople there, marketing tends to be corporate. So if you go towards a corporate location of one of our companies in our industry, that's probably where you'll find marketing. I think marketing is further away from the customer. It's further away from design, but it's more strategic. So I think those are kind of the elements that I would think about if you're thinking about either of those directions.
Thank you, Kevin. Dunwoody College of Technology in Minneapolis. Are you there?
Yes.
Your question, please.
Our question is for Anna. Was there a moment when corrugated became cool for you?
Well, I always thought it was very cool after I took my paper and paperboard class at Virginia Tech, and actually going and working for a corrugated company like PCA, and seeing just all the different things that you could do with it, and doing displays or just making trays, and stuff that you're actually going to see out in the real world. That's kind of when I realized that it was more than what I thought it was, and that it was so versatile, and you can make fun stuff with it and just like have a ball with it. But yeah, I always thought that it was a pretty cool material to use for packaging just because it's so sustainable. And I chose packaging because of the sustainability aspect of it. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Clemson University, are you out there?
Yes. Yes, we're here.
Your question, please.
So this one's for you, Richard. What skills should students focus on now that you see come up all the time in a sales position in industry?
Well, certainly a knowledge of packaging is paramount to getting the edge on other students that are otherwise looking at careers in the industry. But if what we're encouraging a lot of packaging schools to do is incorporate supply chain management into their coursework, sales and marketing, business, all of those elements can help prepare you for a career in corrugated packaging. And I should say that in working with the students across the country with our partners, what we're looking to do is not only offer a career opportunity, a long-time career opportunity for you, but as one of our speakers indicated, we're looking to grow you into leaders, into the managers and the executives of the future. So with a basis of packaging, business, sales, marketing, it better prepares you to go to that element of the career. Thank you for your question. Cal Poly Packaging, are you there?
This one's for Kevin. Our question is, failure is oftentimes a great learning experience. Is there a particular failure that you've experienced in your career that has actually benefited you in the long run by teaching you a valuable lesson about the corrugated?
Wow, that's a thought-provoking one. You know, I think you always wrestle with doors closing, windows opening, and it's really difficult at times to remember that point you just made. Failure is relative. Failure is a moment in time. A career is a long time frame. So I like to quote Coach K on this. He talks about what's next. And the play is over, and you got to think about what's next. So I would say the answer to your question, from my perspective, is failure is inevitable, but it's relative. And so keep it in that perspective. Expect to fail. In fact, you should fail, because if you're not failing, you're probably not pushing as hard as you can. And failure can be a great growth point in your career. I think if you ask anybody, they will have failures in their career, but keep it relative, keep it pointed towards the bigger picture. And remember, everyone stumbles, get back up and work on the next play. That's what's important.
Thank you, Kevin. Bowling Green State University.
Our question is, Bob, does Lando have a materials research or prototyping department, or are those activities handled within your structural and graphic design areas?
Yeah, good question. So we have an innovation center, right? So inside of our innovation center, we have structural and graphic designers that spend probably the bulk of their time doing project-based work that our sales force comes back with. But then we also carve out time for them to be creative, right? We want them to try to push the envelope a little bit so we can actually have something to take to market as opposed to doing and being reactive to what the market is telling us to do, right? So that's our ideal state, is to push that. So inside of our design center, we work off of Artios CAD suites. So our folks there have the opportunity to create packaging, lay artwork on it, and literally send it into the other room to our digital press, print it, and then cut it, and then send it out to our sales force or present it to whoever. So it's absolutely integrate. It's a huge, huge piece of our business, the innovation and technology side. With us being a relatively small player in the industry, we need that innovation. We need that point of difference very, very much. Good question.
Thank you, Bob. Appalachian State, are you there?
Our question is for Bob. You mentioned how your customers have to be more creative in the ways they package their products in retail. Have you seen any of your customers using virtual reality in combination with the packaging?
I have not seen any VR. I'll kind of throw this out to you guys. Not that I'm aware of. That doesn't mean that it's happening either, right? So don't take what I'm saying as the Bible. So not in our customer base, but I'm sure that it is happening out there. I mean, the whole Google glasses or the Google Cardboard thing is pretty sweet. It's probably about as close as I can take it to our industry. Sorry.
I've seen some QR codes on some displays, so people, if they have their phone, can either get a coupon if they scan it, or just find out more information about the product. I know PCA did one for Dentistics, the dog treats, but that's the extent to what I know.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, we'll circle back to Western Michigan University. Lisa, can you connect Western? Are you there?
Yes! Woo!
Your second question.
Our next question is for Kevin, and that is, what career path would you recommend for a Western graduate who has a printing background with an emphasis in inks on substrates with a minor in business?
That's a
very
very tough
specific.
Bronco question. Let me just say this to try to more broadly answer your question. I think as you start in this industry or any industry, think of the next 15 years, if you will, as being years of breadth. In other words, try to get as much breadth as you can within your industry, if hopefully you choose ours. But no matter what your background is, try to reach other areas of the business early in your career, because that will pay dividends down the road as you become more and more senior in your roles. That would be my back of the envelope guidance on that. No matter what your background is, go for breadth of experience early on in your career.
Thank you, Kevin. Virginia Tech, your second question, please.
We don't have it.
You don't have a second question? You don't have anything to ask Anna. University of Wisconsin Stout.
Yeah, we're here.
Your question, please.
Our question is for Kevin, and it's what place do you think point-of-purchase displays will have in the e-commerce landscape, especially as brick-and-mortar stores continue to die out?
Well, I think it's important to remember that even though retail is getting bombarded, quote unquote, it still represents 90% of the overall retail world. The brick and mortar does anyway. So that's not going away in a hurry. So from a POP perspective, I think you've got a huge amount of eye-catching development of different kinds of structures, colors. You're seeing a lot of that happen, and I think Bob mentioned in his discussion the idea of bringing lots of new products into one display, for example. That's a very complicated question because now you've got different sizes of trays, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's going to become more innovative in terms of eye-grabbing, especially in the inner aisle of grocery stores, to bring people into those areas which are now are not as traveled as they used to be. So, you may see things from CPGs that are a combination of substrates, not just all corrugated. Some of the fixed and variable kinds of displays are going to merge. There's going to be a whole, I don't know. I think it's a real bastion for creativity right now, and it's a war in the retail environment, of course. So from that will be lots and lots of new things, in my opinion.
Thank you, Kevin. University of Texas Arlington, your second question, please.
Our question is for Bob. Do you have suggestions for how students can gain experience with variable digital printing since access is limited in an academic setting?
Yeah, great question. Internships, right? So be very specific about where you try to intern, right? And look for those companies that have that technology would be the first suggestion in doing it. And do your homework. There's a ton of YouTube content out there on this development of digital print inside of our industry. So everybody's dying to show off their machine on YouTube, right? So it'll take you through very entry level digital printing into what is now the future of single pass inkjet aqueous technology that's hitting the market now. But I would definitely suggest using ICPF to help you try to find a manufacturer that has, whether it's a small, slower digital press or one of these new single pass machines coming online here very shortly. They'll help you guys find who those people are and hopefully hook you up with them.
Thank you, Bob. University of Florida, are you out there? Your second question, please.
Given the indication that there's increased manufacturing in the United States, have you noticed differences in your regular operations?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's busy. And I think our industry is busy right now and has been for a while. We've been adding jobs and ramping up shifts and investing in capital, and have been now for really the last number of months for sure. And I think that's going on all over in our industry. So things are healthy.
Thank you, Mike. Rutgers University, your second question, please.
Yeah. Hi, our question is for you guys mentioned the use of corrugate for boxes and displays. Are there any new innovative ways corrugate is being used for packaging?
Who do you want to direct that question to?
Bob?
Yeah, I mean, we're fooling around and making furniture out of it. I mean, we have chairs in our front lobby that are made of corrugated. We had a group of 4th and 5th graders come in and had a contest on building a desk for a classroom, right? And so, again, this substrate is infinitely designable. So I think furniture would be something that it would be kind of cool to get into. Trying to think of other things. Furniture is the first thing that comes to mind, sorry. But again, you can do a tremendous amount with it. So I would just say have fun with it. Get weird, get creative.
Thank you, Bob. Pittsburgh State, your second question.
This question is for Anna. If you had the opportunity to go back and talk to your high school class and try to explain what it is industry-wise that you're getting into, what would you tell your former high school students?
Yeah, actually, I've had this opportunity a couple times now. I'm an ambassador for packaging in the College of Natural Resources at Tech. So I've gone back and kind of tried to explain to them that this industry, you can, if you like science-based things, if you like technical, like writing or any kind of area, you can find your home in packaging. And there's just so many different roles that you can go into. You can go into design, you can go into the chemical makeup of adhesives or the actual materials like corrugated and making the corrugated board and all the manufacturing techniques that go into it. And what I kind of like to say that it's like engineering, and except you get to see full process, hands-on, and how like your product comes together at the end, and you can see it in stores, you can see it anytime you go out and you go shopping. So it's really, really in-depth form of engineering.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you for your questions.
Remember, if you are interested in a job in our industry, go to the ICPF website, careersincorrugated.org, to search job openings and to place your resume on the online career portal where corrugated packaging firms seek both students for internships and upcoming graduates for full-time positions. It really works. It's now time for our student design presentation competition with cash prizes. It's a battle among 3 student teams, a team from Cal Poly, Millersville University, and University of Texas, Arlington. This is ICPF's annual student design presentation competition. Among last year's first and second place winners in AICC's Design to an Opportunity, these teams have already won awards on their designs. The key to winning today is all about their presentation. We have asked these students to show, tell, and sell their entry as they would to a prospective customer. Each team is limited to 5 minutes. Our judges will select first, second, and third place winners. They will judge on presentation content, presentation skills, and presentation of the design. Each team will receive a cash prize. The student teams that entered the Structural Design to an Opportunity competition this past year were provided a real-world challenge to create a hardware shipper box to be sent to customers of a hardware store. The package had to contain 4 traditional 60-watt light bulbs and 1 traditional 16-ounce hammer. The Graphics Design Challenge category was to design the packaging and graphics for a pet product company's e-commerce box. This box for shipping directly to a customer who orders online could include various pet products such as toys, leashes, vitamins, and food, and other various pet sales items. Now let's go to our first team at Cal Poly. Austin Cron, Kevin Rivas, and Derek Brashears will explain why we should buy their design, Easy Bulb. Cal Poly, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Take it away.
Well, hello everybody. We're very excited to be with you all presenting our project Easy Bulb. My name is Derek Brashears. I'm a 4th year industrial technology major with an emphasis in packaging at Cal Poly.
My name is Kevin Rivas. I'm a senior business administration major here at Cal Poly with a concentration in packaging.
And my name is Austin Cron. I am a senior here at Cal Poly studying industrial technology with an emphasis in packaging.
So here at Cal Poly, our big emphasis is learn by doing. So that's exactly what we did with this design challenge. We really hit the ground running, and that meant for us coming to class prepared with about 10 concepts. So we had ideas, descriptions, and that really allowed us to launch into a conversation of what we wanted the package to do, what we wanted the design to look like, how we wanted it to perform, and the user experience were all things that we considered with this design. After we had this long discussion, we kind of narrowed it down to one concept, and that was the Easy Bulb. And from there, we moved into the prototyping phase, where we did the old-fashioned way at first with just paper and tape to really narrow down that concept. And that actually helped us build a good team chemistry working together. Then after that, we moved into using Ardios CAD to assist us with the die lines for these packages. And we used our trusty Kongsberg cutting table in our packaging labs to achieve this. We made some small iterations and changes along the way during the prototyping phase, but we're really pleased with how the package turned out. And now we're going to dive into a little bit more about the individual pieces of this packaging system. So first and foremost, for the individual light bulb packages, we decided to use a single face corrugate. And the reason for this was because we thought it would provide a unique shelf impact that other light bulb packaging bulbs in the industry don't really see. We ended up going to quite a few hardware stores in our area, and we noticed that essentially all light bulb packaging was rectangular and square. So we thought the cylindrical shape would not only provide a unique shelf impact, but still provide all the superior protection that you can expect from those other packages. Diving into more of the technical design, we have enough headspace here at the top, so that way the bulb will never be broken or damaged during distribution. We have an insert at the bottom that prevents the bulb from sliding too far out of the bottom, so again, preventing damage. And to eject the bulb, you simply use your finger and press upward until the bulb is removed. So it's really easy. Like I said, provides a lot of protection, and you can shake it around, the bulb's not going to go anywhere. So we're really satisfied with how this part of the package turned out.
Now I'll be talking about the graphics of our individual light bulb package. So we wanted to create a clean, simple design that will complement our sustainable package. So as you can see here, we have the wattage shown in the center, and we wanted that to be the focus of our package because when consumers are looking to buy light bulbs, that's what their main concern is. And we also included additional information on the side, which includes brightness, the estimated energy cost, and the color of the light. And we switch it over to the other side, we have a comic strip with detailed step-by-step instructions that show you how to remove the light bulb from the package, and an arrow indicating which way the light bulb should be ejected. We did this so that our graphics could communicate how the light bulb should be opened.
So now I'm going to dive into the shipper insert itself. So as Derek mentioned earlier, we went through a couple different iterations along the process. Basically, what it came down to is we wanted to decide if we wanted to keep the hammer underneath the package or behind the package. And we ultimately decided, as you can see, that we're going to have the hammer behind the package. We thought that this would isolate the hammer more efficiently from the light bulbs on the front and keep them safer for shipment. The insert itself is made out of E-flute corrugated. We decided that E-flute would provide superior protection for the light bulbs, and at the same time, it would not overpackage them and be a waste of materials. So as you can see, we have 4 cutouts here, and each of them holds a light bulb. And so that when all the bulbs are inserted, they're very securely held in place so that they turn upside down, they aren't going anywhere. And then when we turn around to the back of it, it's where we have the hammer portion. And we have these 4 tabs here. And when you push in all 4 of these tabs, it provides structure for the hammer to be inserted from either direction. And it secures both the handle and the head of the hammer so that neither will move around during shipping, causing vibration or any other source of potential harm for the light bulbs. And another cool feature about our insert is that when there's no product in it, it can be folded flat so that for shipment, it saves a lot of space, which saves money. And that is a very key aspect of packaging, is saving space, saving money.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the shipper itself. We started out with a 401 standard that we modified slightly. We added some dust flaps as well as increased the length on certain flaps to provide an added layer of protection. And the packaging system as a whole, we actually ran it on the K-Pack software, and we determined that it was 96% efficient. So we were very pleased with that. As a whole, Easy Bowl, we think it's a really cool, unique package, but it's simple, yet kind of has a fun vibe to it, as well as just being, providing all the protection and efficiency that you would ever need. So thank you very much for listening to us. Special thank you to ICPF for having us out. It's been a great event.
Thank you, Cal Poly. For our second contestant, we go to University of Texas at Arlington student team consisting of Rethna Chom and Emily Brown. They will explain why we should buy their design, Chef Chow. University of Texas Arlington team, please begin.
Hello everyone, my name is Rethna Chom.
And I'm Emily Brown.
And we are the University of Texas at Arlington. And we would like to thank the ICPF for giving us the opportunity today to present our product, Chef Chow. Chef Chow is a monthly subscription mail-order box that delivers food and other pet products to your door. As a group, we wanted to create a product that really represented us as the consumers. Being the structural designer of the group, it was my job to select and design the shipper box as well as the packaging products that are being shipped to our consumers. For the shipper box, we wanted to make sure that we had a structured design that is sturdy and can be readily delivered. With that idea, I decided to run a standard shipper box made out of corrugated beef fluid using Ardios CAD. This allowed us to have a shipper box that we knew can withstand the process of mailing. As for the packaged goods being delivered, lightweight products such as pet food and pet treats were created out of folding carton. As for heavier products like our water bowl was designed using corrugated beef fluid. Each product was specifically measured to fit just snug into our shipper box. This allowed for a more welcome and hassle-free appeal to our consumers when opening our product. It alleviated the need for any type of dividers or fillers because all of our products fit just cozy, and we felt that it gave a wonderful feeling to be able to see the items right away when you open up the subscription box. To discuss our decisions on the graphic portion, my partner Emily here will take it away.
Hey guys. So because we had a little bit larger group of 4 people, we were looking for something that we all had in common, and because we all have pets and love them and regularly shop for pet food, we decided to go with that aspect. We had noticed a trend in subscription mailers and e-commerce and thought that would be a really great way to market to a specific group of pet owners. And it would also have the added convenience aspect of things, which is really useful. We had 3 main goals in designing this product. The first was reliability and quality. And to achieve this, we chose a dark purple color, which traditionally has connotations of royalty or lastingness. And then we also used the craft color on the folding carton, which gives this feel of a natural product because we wanted to focus on a farm-to-table aspect. Our second goal was playfulness and elegance. To achieve this, we used traditional line engravings, but we also added an unexpected twist. All of the dogs are wearing hats, and this kind of has a playful feel, so when the customer opens the box and sees the packages, they smile at the cute dogs and hats. Our third goal was legibility, clarity, and sustainability. All of our packaging has a lot of white space, which means that the designs don't cover all of the package. They're very focused and clear and central to each design. We also used a very clean, modern typeface, and of course, we chose corrugated materials for sustainability, so everything is easy to break down and recycle. We wanted to keep an element of surprise in the experience of opening the boxes. The shipper box has a deep purple color inside, and the water bowl has the line engravings. We were also very intentional in choosing our details. We chose a bulldog with a hat, and traditionally the bulldog is shows pride in the product. And all of our elements are repeated throughout the product so that it's very cohesive in its design. Overall, I feel like we achieved a very strong product. It's something that I personally would feel good about going to the store and picking up. We would like to thank ICPF once more for letting us present to you today.
This concludes our presentation.
Thank you, University of Texas, Arlington. For our third team, we go to Millersville University in Pennsylvania. Brittany Myers and Eli Brill will explain to us and sell us on their design, Rough and Tumble. Millersville, are you ready?
Hello, my name is Eli Burrell,
And I'm Brittany Myers.
and today we're going to talk to you about our package for Rough and Tumble. So the idea behind Rough and Tumble is that it is an e-commerce business, meaning there's no brick and mortar. So our main and physical connection to our customers would be this package. And because of that, we needed to capture the essence of our company in the graphic design. So the first thing we came up with was the name Rough and Tumble. And that kind of set the pace for how we were going to operate for the rest of our design process. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and we think that perfectly aligns with what it feels like to be a dog owner in the first place, which was something we wanted our design to be associated with. And I mean, really, who doesn't love a good play on words? So the brand name kind of set the pace for the rest of our design, and ultimately we decided to go with a vibrant design while also taking a minimalistic approach. And one of our big challenges was trying to make something that looked and felt dynamic, because designing graphics for a package means working with a purely static medium. Eventually we decided to use these playful silhouette graphics against a single color background because we knew they'd stand out and they'd be fun. We also realized that this would make our design more recognizable, and brand recognition was something we decided to prioritize right from the start. The tennis ball and sub-logo combined with a set of graphics knocked out white against green makes for what we think is a pretty cohesive design that could yield a strong brand. Finally, we think our design fits the modern graphic design landscape. Minimalist graphics are everywhere. We wanted to make something that aligns with current trends. So we think our design is a realistic attempt to modernize a company's image with accessible, fun graphics.
And while we were in the process of doing that, we knew we wanted to have fun and make a fun design, but we also wanted to kind of challenge ourselves too. In order to do that, we used these designs that wrap around the corners of the inside and the outside of the package. So when it came to printing and cutting our box out, we had to make sure everything lined up the way it was meant to. And part of that was part of doing that successfully was during our initial design process in Adobe Illustrator, we had to add bleeds to our layout. So if there are any inconsistencies on the sample maker, we had a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak. So not only are we keeping up with the modern design world, but we also made sure that the cost of producing this package is relatively low. We did this by keeping our design to 3 colors: white, that tennis ball green, and dark gray. The white is the bleached surface of the corrugated board. That means you would only need 2 spot color inks to print the graphics on this package. And all of the graphics, including the text, are vectorized. With e-commerce, you're going to have different size boxes, so you need a design that can be stretched and manipulated without losing any data in the process. The graphics were printed on a wide format Epson Stylus Pro 9900 printer using advanced adhesive synthetic paper. Now, as far as the structure of the box, we designed it for eFlute corrugated board on ArtiosCAD software. After we adhered the graphics to both sides of the board, we cut the die line out using the Gerber Innovation Sample Maker that was generously donated to Millersville University by the International Corrugated Packaging Foundation.
What we were really going for here was just a package that we thought looked nice, that we could imagine sitting on our porch, something that you come home from work, you ordered something for your dog, and there it is. It looks realistic, and we really think Rough and Tumble is the whole package.
Thank you, Millersville University. These were great presentations from everyone. From what I see, each one of you should consider a career in corrugated packaging and displays. Do you think this competition will also look great on their resumes? You bet it will. That's why all of you out there should plan to enter AICC's 2018 Student Design Competition. If you win there, you qualify to compete in our separate ICPF annual teleconference broadcast next February. The 3 AICC categories are Design to an Opportunity Part 1, Structural Design, Design to an Opportunity Part 2, Graphic Design, and a third category, Corrugated as Art. However, ICPF does not include the winners of Corrugated as Art category in ICPF's subsequent design presentation competition conducted during this annual ICPF teleconference. This year, AICC's Structural Design to an Opportunity is a real-world challenge to create a survival kit to be sent to a college student living in a dorm from a local grocery store. The idea is that this box that a parent, grandparent, family member, or friend would send to someone they know in college. The structural design must withstand the rigors of courier delivery without anything being broken or smashed. The package must contain a bag of chips, a glass jar of peanut butter, a glass jar of jelly, 2 packs of ramen noodles, and a loaf of bread. AICC's Graphic Design Challenge category is to design the graphics for the grocery store 4th of July e-commerce box. This box will ship directly to a customer of a fictional grocery store prior to the holiday. Theoretically, the box would contain items to host a 4th of July picnic. The design of the box must promote the fictional grocery store along with the holiday. You should know that the top student winners who are competing today won an all-expenses-paid trip to AICC's PAC Expo Teleconference in Las Vegas this past September, where they assembled on stage for national recognition. Those who enter and win this year will be invited to join the AICC TAPI Conference this coming fall, all expenses paid. The winning entries will be displayed there, and winning teams will be honored on stage at AICC's general session. The winning student teams will be entitled to attend all sessions and networking events held in conjunction with the meeting. All winners who will receive a distinctive plaque as well as a great boost to their resume. We hope that you will participate in this competition that brings cash prizes, recognition, and great exposure to potential employers in the corrugated packaging and displays industry. AICC has told us that design entries are due Friday, May 18th. Each of the universities and students with us today should consider competing. The full competition materials are available through a link to AICC from ICPF's website, www.careersincorrugated.org. Now, before we identify the winners of this ICPF competition, I wish to remind everyone to visit ICPF's website to view available jobs that are regularly posted on the career portal there. You also should post your resume there so it can be viewed by Corrugated Packaging and Displays employers. That is how PCA's HR Director and Director of Design first saw my resume. Also, you can contact ICPF by email if you are interested in student internships and joining ICPF's LinkedIn Corrugated Career Network. An internship is a great way to get your foot in the door for a full-time position in the corrugated industry upon graduation. My experience is clear proof that of the value of a student internship. Do we have the winners of the 2018 ICPF Student Design Presentation Competition? Thank you. In third place, with a $200 cash prize, is Millersville University. Congratulations. In second place, with a $250 cash prize, is Cal Poly. In first place, with a $500 cash prize, goes to University Texas Arlington. Congratulations to everyone who competed. It looks like our time is up. Thanks for tuning in today. Remember to visit ICPF's website, careersincorrugated.org. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you all stay in contact with the ICPF team and to learn more about corrugated careers. It has been a pleasure.